Welcome back. In this video, we are going to discuss about objectives of working capital, determinant factors of working capital, and working capital finance. Okay, now objectives of working capital management. See here, what are the objectives of working capital management? So, what is the main intention of working capital management here? We are going to study. First one, to ensure optimum investment in current assets. See here, the main objective of working capital management is to ensure optimum investment in current assets. So here, optimum investment in current asset means here the best investment. So without any excess of working capital as well as inadequate of working capital. So here the working capital management ensures optimum investment in current assets. Second one, to strike a balance between the twin objectives of liquidity and profitability in the use of funds. So here another objective of working capital management is to maintain a balance between twin objectives of liquidity and profitability in the use of funds. So in the utilization of funds, so here it will make a balance between two objectives, that is liquidity and profitability. Third one, to ensure adequate flow of funds for current operations. So here working capital management ensures adequate flow of funds for current operations. So here that means to run day-to-day operations. So here the working capital management ensures for the providing of funds, flow of funds for current operations or day-to-day operations. And the last one, that is to speed up the flow of funds or to minimize the stagnation of funds. So here to speed up the flow of funds. So here speed up means, for example, here the main intention of the working capital management is how to get debtor, the amount of debtors as soon as early possible, or to minimize the stagnation of funds. So here we can say that here it ensures that here flow of funds, either the flow of funds may be inflow or outflow. So inflow means here as soon as early possible we have to get our debtors, and at the same time as soon as early possible we have to pay our, or we have to release our current liabilities, that is creditors, to maintain a balance between debt, inflow as well as outflow. So these are the main objectives of working capital management. Next, determinant factors of working capital. So now till now we discussed that working capital is nothing but the amount which is required to run day-to-day operations. So how we can estimate, or how we can say that this much of working capital we require. So here how the working capital may be determined. So what are the factors are there which influences the working capital of a business? This is the concept. So determinant factors of working capital. So here first one, nature of business. See here working capital depends upon what is the nature of the business, or it depends upon the characteristic of a business. So here business may be different from one industry to another industry. Okay, so here at the same time the working capital requirement also may be different from one firm to another firm. It may be different from one firm to another firm. For example, trading and finance firms have very small investment in fixed assets, but they require more working capital. So trading firms, and we can say that finance firms, they may have small investment in fixed assets. So fixed assets lo vaatiki small investment ఉంటుంది, but to run their operations they need, we can say that we can say that the more amount of working capital is required. So in contrast, public utility concerns rendering public services require huge investment in fixed assets. Okay, so but they require small amount of working capital, and here the working capital is highly required in case of banks. So here what is the working capital requirement? Here the working capital may be depends upon ద నేచర్ ఆఫ్ ద బిజినెస్. సో బిజినెస్ యొక్క స్వభావాన్ని బట్టి వర్కింగ్ క్యాపిటల్ అనేది డిపెండ్ అయి ఉంటుంది. సో హియర్ ద వర్కింగ్ క్యాపిటల్ మే బి different from, అంటే mean the requirement of working capital may different from one firm to another firm. It may be different from one industry to another industry. And the second one is size of business. So here working capital depends upon size of business. That means here it is based on the, we can say that, scale of operations. So it is based on the scale of operations. So here the greater size of a business unit, larger will be the requirement of working capital. If the scale of operations are more, then they require large amount of working capital. If the scale of operation is less, then they will require less amount of working capital. So it is nothing but here working capital depends upon the production capacity. Here it depends upon the production capacity, that is called scale of operations. If the scale of operations are more, then the firm will require huge amount of working capital when compared to the scale of operations less in case of small scale organization. And third one, that is production cycle process. So here the working capital requirement depends upon the production cycle process. See, the firm requires more working capital if the production process is very length, because the material holding period will be more. See here, production cycle process. So some products may be produced within 1 hour or within day. Some products may be produced, we can say that, during a period of time, for example 2 months, 3 months, or one unit. I mean, some of the products may be produced during the year. So here the requirement of working capital purely depends upon the production cycle process. So here the length of the production cycle process is more, then they required huge amount of working capital, because the material holding period will be more in case of production life cycle process is lengthy. Suppose in case of production life cycle process is less, that means the less amount of working capital will be required. So it depends upon the length of the production cycle process. And the next one, production policy. See here, the production policy is also one of the important determinant factor of working capital requirement. See, some of the products or the goods, they can produce over a period of years and sold in the season. So during year they will be produced and sold in seasons, and some of the products they may be produced instantly and sold throughout the year. See here the difference is, some of the products may be produced throughout the year and sold in special seasons, and some of the products are produced instantly and sold during the year. So when compared to these two situations, so here where the production is going throughout the year and selling at the time of seasons, they requires huge amount of working capital. For example, here the refrigerators are more demanded in summer season, but here the production will be takes place during the off season only. So they may be demanded in summer, but they may be produced in winter as well as rainy season. So for these kind of industries or for these kind of businesses, here the working capital requirement is huge. And next one, credit policy or terms of purchase and sales. See here, based on the credit policy as well as the terms of purchase and sales also, the working capital will be required. For example, here if the companies decide to sell 50% of goods on the basis of credit, then we require huge amount of working capital. Whereas the firm is decided to they framed a credit policy that the firm's credit sales should not be exceed 20%. So here whereas 20% it will less amount of working capital, whereas 50% of credit sales they requires more amount of working capital. So here that is why the reason the credit policy and terms of purchase and sales also one of the important factor of working capital determination. And next one is business cycle. See, business cycle includes generally four stages, that is introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. So here the working capital will be more required, or the working capital requirement will be more in case of business introduction and decline stage when compared to growth and maturity. So here out of these four stages, so generally here the huge amount of working capital may be required in case of first stage, that is introduction, and last stage, that is declining. So during middle of the in the between these two more two stages are there. In that two stages the firm requires only less amount of working capital, but especially for the growth growth as well as declining stage, the firms requires huge amount of working capital. And next one, scarce availability of raw material. So here working capital may be depends upon the availability of raw materials. If the raw materials availability is more, if the raw material availability is more, then firms needs less working capital is required. So here in the market the raw material availability is more, so when compared to our firm firm utilization, then the working capital will be required very less. But when compared to there is a shortage of raw material, then ultimately the working capital will be required more. Next, profit level. See here, level of profits of an organization also one of the important factor or which influences the working capital amount. The firm which earns huge profits will require less working capital, and the firms which earns less profits will require more working capital. Here the firms which which earns high profits, they requires less amount of working capital, whereas the firms earns less amount of profits requires huge amount of working capital. And the next one, price level changes. So here changes in the price level also affect the working capital requirement. The rising prices will require the firm to maintain large amount of working capital. So here if the prices of raw material are increases, then we need to maintain huge amount of raw material. Suppose if the prices of raw materials are less, then the less amount of raw material will be required. So here it depends upon price level changes. If price increases, working capital also increases. When price decreases, then we will require less amount of working capital. And the last one, that is dividend policy. So dividend payment is one of the important decision by the firm. Okay, so if the firm is decided to pay dividend in the form of cash, then they requires huge amount of working capital. Suppose if the firm decided to pay in other forms of dividend, then they will be required less amount of working capital. For example, the firm is decided to distribute their dividend in the form of bonus shares, then the firm will require very nominal amount of cash, because instead of cash they are paying in the form of bonus shares, that is stock shares, or we can say that stock dividend. Okay, so these are the important determinant factors of working capital. So first one is nature of business, second one is size of business, third one production cycle process, fourth one production policy, fifth one credit policy or terms of purchase and sales, and sixth one business cycle, seventh one scarce availability of raw material, eighth one profit level, and ninth one price level changes, and the last one, 10th one, that is dividend policy. You see, next the very important concept, working capital operating cycle. So working capital operating cycle. See, working capital is required because of the time gap between sales and their actual realization in cash. This time gap technically termed as operating cycle of the business. See here, What is operating cycle means? Here the working capital is required because of time gap. There is a time gap between sales as well as their actual realization in cash. For example, X is a businessman who sold goods to Y on credit basis for the credit period of 3 months. So actual the sales are going to be, I mean the sales are taking place today, but the amount will be going to realize after 3 months. So here there is a gap between sales and actual collection or realization in cash. So here there is a time gap. So this time gap technically termed as operating cycle of the business. సో ఈ టైం గ్యాప్ని ఇక్కడ ఏమంటామంటే ఆపరేటింగ్ సైకిల్ అంటున్నాం. ఓకే, సో హియర్ ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ వీ పర్చేస్డ్ రా మెటీరియల్ టుడే. ఓకే, సో వీ నీడ్ టు make the production. So to make the production it will take lot of time. So after making the production it should be converted into finished product and it should be sent to godowns and it should be sent to market and it should be sent to sold in the market and the amount should be realized. So here this entire process will maximum, it may take some time. So here the time gap is called as operating cycle. Right, now the operating cycle may be differ from one firm to another firm. That is, it is different from manufacturing firm, trading and financial firm. So what is the length of the operating cycle means? Here the length of the operating cycle may not be same for every firm. So it may be different from one firm to another firm, or it may be different from one industry to another industry. Suppose for example here it is different from manufacturing firms and it may be different for trading firms and also it may be different for financial firms. Next one, more the length of operating cycle, then more the risk of working capital inadequacy. So here the operating cycle length should be less. If the more operating cycle length is there, then the more operating cycle length indicates that there is a risk of working capital inadequacy. So that is why the reason less operating cycle or less length of operating cycle is suitable for the organization. Yes, see this is diagram for operating cycle for manufacturing firms. So manufacturing firms ante the firms engages or the firm which engages in production process. So here first we have cash. So after cash we will purchase raw material. So after raw material, here the material will be under process, that is called work in process. So after work in process, here the goods will be, the production will be completed. The goods may be called as finished goods after completion of product. And here after finished goods, the goods may be sold to the customers on credit basis. Then debtors will be called, or we can say that debtors will be realized. So after debtors, so at the time of maturity period, again we will get cash. So again we will purchase raw material and working process and they may go under finished product and again will sold on the basis of credit and debtors will be erases. And after debtors, again the cash will be collected automatically after a particular credit period of time. So here this is a continuous process. So that is why the reason it is called as operating cycle for manufacturing firms. So that is cash converted into raw material converted into work in process converted into finished goods converted into debtors converted into cash. Okay, and next one is this diagram for operating cycle for trading firms. So trading firm means they do not engage in production process, just they will purchase the goods and sells the goods in the market. So here cash, first step cash will be there. So after cash, finished goods will be purchased and finished goods will be sold, and next cash will be realized after a particular period of time and again they will purchase, they will sold, and cash will be realized, they will purchase and they will sold. So it is a continuous process, and this is the operating cycle for trading firms. And next, forecasting the working capital requirement. So how to estimate working capital requirement? So what are the methods are there for the estimation of working capital requirement? This is a concept which is related to problematic part. Okay, so there are two methods adopted to forecast the working capital requirements. They are estimation of components of working capital method, and the second one is operating cycle method. So estimation of components of working capital method means here current assets and current liabilities method, and operating cycle method. So these are the two different methods are there for the forecasting of working capital requirement. So these two methods are the problematic related methods. So these two methods we will discuss especially in the next coming videos. About these two videos we will discuss especially separately in the next videos. And the next one, financing of working capital through bank finance and trade credit. So that is called working capital finance. So working capital finance through bank finance and trade credit. See here, external funds available for a period of 1 year or less are called short-term finance. So what is short-term finance means here? The short-term finance is nothing but the external funds available for a period of 1 year or below 1 year or less than 1 year are called short-term finance. In India, short-term funds are used to finance working capital. So in India, short-term funds are used to finance working capital. So two most significant short-term sources of finance for working capital are, so here in India, the most important short-term sources of working capital are, the first one is trade credit and the second one is bank finance. So what is trade credit and what is bank finance? Now we will discuss in detail. So there are two methods of, we can say that there are two short-term sources of finance for working capital. They are trade credit and bank finance. See, trade credit. So what is trade credit? So trade credit refers to the credit that a customer gets from suppliers of goods in the normal course of business. In practice, the buying firms do not have to pay cash immediately for the purchase made. This deferral of payments is a short-term financing called trade credit. So here this is a very famous sources of finance of working capital. So here what is trade credit means here? See, a business firm or a businessman who wants to purchase goods who wants to purchase the goods, he will go to supplier and he will ask for a credit. He will ask goods on the basis of credit. So here immediately the person also will supply goods on the basis of terms and conditions for a particular period of time. So here this kind of short-term financing is called as trade credits. So this kind of short-term finance is called as trade credit. So this is very famous in India. That is, in practice, the buying firms do not have to pay cash immediately. So here the businessman will not pay cash immediately for the purchase made. This deferral of payments is a short-term financing called trade credit. So here after 2 months or after 3 months, this businessman will pay the amount, and again he will purchase whenever he required the material, he will purchase on credit basis, and after a particular period of time he will pay. So this kind of facility or short-term sources of finance is called as trade credit. It is a major sources of finance for firms in India, it contributes to about one third of the short term financing. Particularly, small firms are heavily depend on trade credit as a source of finance since they find it difficult to raise funds from banks or other sources in the capital markets. So here this is a major sources of financing for the firms in India. It contributes about one third of the short term financing. So here the share of the trade credit in India is one third of the amount it will finance through short term financing. So particularly small firms are heavily depend upon trade credit as a sources of finance since they do not find or they find they difficult to find raise funds from banks or other sources in the capital market. So generally it may be very helpful for the small businesses. So here because of they are unable to get the loan from the banks as well as other sources in the capital markets. And next one, financing of working capital through bank finance and trade credit. Benefits of trade credit. So what are the benefits of trade credit? So trade credit ద్వారా ఉన్న benefits ఏంటి? So first one, easy availability. So here unlike other sources of finance, so when compared to other sources of finance, see here the trade credit is relatively easy to obtain. So here trade credit is relatively easy to obtain. So except in case of financially very unsound firms. So unsound firms, so if the firms are unsound, in except then that case only we are not able to get trade credit, but in the remaining cases it is almost all automatic and does not require any negotiations. So if the firm is having sound firm, or we can say that financially very sound, then automatically the firm will get trade credit. There is no need for the negotiations. So that is the reason here it is very easily available in the market, in the capital market. So next one, flexibility. So here flexibility is another advantage of trade credit. So trade credit grows with the growth in firms sales. So here we can say that the limitation of trade credit, or here the size of trade credit may be increases with the growth of the firm. So that is why the reason it is very flexible, or we can say that it is very flexibility. And the last one, informality. So here the trade credit is an informal and spontaneous sources of finance. It does not require any negotiations and formal agreement. It does not have the restrictions which are usually parts of the negotiated sources of finance. So here when compared to other sources of finance, see here the trade credit is informal sources of getting finance. So here it does not have any restrictions. It does not have any restrictions and it does not require any negotiations and it does not require any formal agreement. So these are the benefits for the trade credit. And coming to the next sources of finance, that is bank finance for working capital. So banks are the main institutional sources of working capital finance in India. After trade credit, bank credit is the most important sources of financing working capital requirement. So in India, here trade credit plays an important role. So after trade credit, here bank plays an important role in the financing of working capital requirement. And the second point, a bank considers a firm's sales and production plans and the desirable level of current assets in the determining its working capital requirement. So bank will ask the firms regarding their sales and production plans and their desirable level of current assets in the determination of its working capital requirements. And the third one, the amount approved by the bank for the firm's working capital is called credit limit. So here whatever it may be the amount approved by the bank for the firm's working capital is called credit limit. So credit limit is the maximum amount of funds which a firm can obtain from the bank system. So here this is the maximum credit limit is the maximum amount of funds which a bank can obtain from the banking system. So beyond that level, here the businessman or the firm cannot get the funds from the banking system. So that is the maximum limit for the raising of funds from the bank in the form of credit limit. See here, so forms of bank finance. So here we told that bank finance is nothing but getting loan from bank. It is nothing but liberally, it is nothing but generally, it is nothing but getting loan from bank. So here the loan, it is technically termed as credit limit. So that is a maximum amount which we can obtain from the banking system. So in which forms we are able to get the bank finance? So different forms are there. A firm can draw funds from its bank within the maximum credit limit sanction. It can draw funds in the following forms. So here the firm can get the bank finance from the following, any one of the following forms. So here the first one is overdraft. So overdraft means, see here, it is a permission to withdraw excess of money from our current account. So right now X is a person, he is having 1 lakh rupee of savings, 1 lakh rupee of deposits in his current account. Now he wants 1,50,000 for a payment. So here he requires another 50,000. Immediately he will approach a banker. Then bank will provide a system, or they will provide a service to withdraw the excess of funds. Okay, excess of funds for the customer. So here this system will be called as overdraft. So here for the overdraft, bank will charge a nominal rate of interest, and it is a short term finance. Here the amount of overdraft can be repayable within a short period of time. Okay, so overdraft, it is a facility which is given by the banker for the borrower is allowed to withdraw funds in excess of balance in his current account up to a certain or specific limit during a stipulated period. Okay, so here for this the bank will charge a minimum interest charges. Okay, the borrower operates the account through checks. So here the borrower operates account through checks. So this is what about overdraft in this form. So this is one of the form where a businessman or a firm can raise their short term finance through bank. And the second one, cash credit. So cash credit also, it is very similar to overdraft arrangement, and it is the most popular method of bank finance for working capital in India. So cash credit is one of the most important, or we can say that most popular method of bank finance for working capital in India. Under the cash credit facility, a borrower is allowed to withdraw funds from the bank up to the sanctioned credit limit. He is not required to borrow the entire sanctioned credit at once. Rather, he can draw periodically to extend of his requirements and repay it by depositing surplus funds in his cash credit account. So there is no commitment charges. Therefore, interest is payable on the amount actually utilized by the borrowers. So here cash credit limits are sanctioned against the security of current assets, and cash credit is a most flexible arrangement from the borrower's point of view. So what is cash credit means here? Simply, cash credit is another sources of arrangement of funds by the bank, and it is very famous or popular in India, and under this facility here the borrower is allowed to withdraw funds from the bank up to the sanctioned credit limit, and he is not required to withdraw total amount at a time. So he can withdraw the amount in phases wise, or he can withdraw the amount periodically to the extent of his requirement. So based on the requirement, for example, here his credit limit is rupees 1 lakh, but he don't require that much of amount. Just the person is required only 40,000 rupees for that particular period. So generally he will withdraw 40,000 rupees, and he will deposit whatever it may be the surplus amount in that particular credit limit loan account. So here for this, here the interest may be, or the nominal charges may be applicable for only rupees 40,000 withdrawn amount, not it is applicable for whole credit or cash credit limit. It is not applicable for whole cash credit limit. So that is why the reason it is very famous and it is very popular in financing working capital in India. And next one, bills purchasing or discounting. So here bills purchasing or discounting also one of the important sources of raising finance through bank. So here in this method the bank purchases or discounts the borrower's bills. The amount provided under this agreement is covered within the overall cash credit or overdraft limit. So before purchasing or discounting the bills, the bank satisfies itself to the credit worthiness of the drawer through the term. Okay, bills purchase implies that the bank becomes owner of the bills. In practice, bank holds bills as security for the credit. When a bill is discounted, the borrower is paid the discounted amount of the bill. The bank collect the full amount of at the time of maturity. See here, bill purchasing or discounting means, so here the businessman will approach a bank for the discounting of bills. So here the bank will discount the bill and will pay some or certain amount, or we can say that 90% of the amount to the borrower, and here the bill will be retained with the bank itself till the maturity period, and bank will claim 100% of amount at the time of maturity. So here that is why the reason in this case here we can say that at the time of maturity period, here the bank will collect the entire amount from the defaulter. So here this is one of the important, and this is one of the famous method also in Indian banking system, that is bills purchasing as well as discounting. And the last one, working capital loan. So apart from overdraft, cash credit and bills purchasing or discounted, if any business or firm requires the excess of sanctioned credit limit to meet unforeseen contingencies. For example, their cash credit limit is rupees 1 lakh, but the business is requires more than cash credit limit. So to meet their unforeseen contingencies, so here bank provides such accommodation through a demand loan. So here a demand loan. So here the borrower is required to pay a higher rate of interest above normal rate of interest on such additional credit. So here working capital loan means the bank will provide the excess of cash credit limit in case the business firm to face unforeseen conditions, or we can say that contingency conditions in the business, but the rate of interest for such kind of loans are very high. So here this is called working capital loan. So it will be given in addition to the overdraft or in addition to the cash credit limit. Okay, so this is what about the forms of bank finance. So here a firm can draw funds from bank within the maximum credit limit sanction. It can draw funds in the following forms: either it may be overdraft, cash credit, bills purchasing or discounting, and the last one, that is working capital management. See here, this is the complete detailed explanation related to the unit number 4, that is working capital management and finance. So in the previous video and in this video, so almost all we have covered all the theoretical topics related to unit number 4, that is working capital management and finance. So in the next videos we are going to discuss problematic part for the working capital requirement, or the estimation of working capital requirement in the two methods, that is components of working capital method, and the second one is operating cycle method. Okay, so we will discuss in the next video. Until then, bye bye, thank you.